Donald Trump's health is collapsing as he has rushed out of Washington, D.C. Obviously, today is the White House Correspondents' Dinner this evening, but yesterday Donald Trump rushed out of Washington, D.C., and this followed what was a real horrific kind of cognitive collapse that we all saw on TV, right? He was at this press conference in the Oval Office, and he fell asleep, and then his eyes would just kind of roll back to the top of his head, and he would jolt awake. You know, there were certain people who were mocking it online, just, you know, how Donald Trump would fall asleep during these press conferences in the Oval Office. Then all of the press, they were like, oh, that's AI videos. And some people were mocking Donald Trump falling asleep at the press conference with AI. But it was not a fake that Donald Trump fell asleep during this disastrous Oval Office press conference. I just find it fascinating that the press rush to fact check. Oh my God, that's an AI image of Donald Trump. He didn't put his face and his face planted onto the table. Okay, yes, there was someone doing a parody image of Donald Trump. We get that. But can we at least acknowledge the fact that Donald Trump is cognitively and physically collapsing before our eyes, that he constantly falls asleep during press conferences, and it's like a real horrific thing to watch? I mean, for all of the attention that the press gave to former President Biden just because he was old, even though he was with it, he was just old. I mean, Donald Trump quite literally collapsing before our eyes, and the attack is on, oh, this person did an AI image of Donald Trump licking the table. We know Donald Trump didn't lick the table, okay? But dude was falling asleep in the Oval Office for all to see. I just want to remind everybody about his physical and cognitive collapse in the past 12 to 24 hours before rushing out of Washington, D.C. That's not suspicious at all. So what, he's going to rush out of Washington, D.C., go to Florida, and then return today in a 12-hour period? He's going to fly there and fly back. I'm going to call that out and say that's highly suspicious right there. And by the way, when is his physical? Right? His annual physical is supposed to take place April 2026. When's that going to take place? His last annual physical was April 2025. Then in October of 2025, they said it was his physical. But then it was like, well, he heard the annual physical. Then, oh, it's his semi-annual physical. They're lying about everything. So I'm going to choose to believe my eyes when I see him cognitively and physically collapse before my eyes. Like when I saw him at the press conference saying that Greece has been very supportive, that Greece is a terrific guy. When I see that Donald Trump believes that Greece is a human being who is a terrific human being, I'm going to say red flag, red flag. Here, play this clip.
Do you have any
Really
response?
nice. No, it's really nice. I mean, Greece has been very supportive, actually. Greece has been terrific. He's a terrific guy because he understands the importance of it. You know, oil goes up a little bit. I hate it. You know, I was the one that had it down to $60.
Okay, and you may be saying, well, Donald Trump doesn't believe that Greece is a guy, even though Donald Trump said Greece is a terrific guy. He didn't mean that. Okay, we'll make excuses for him. I'm being sarcastic, of course. What about at the press conference when Donald Trump said that Spirit Airlines, which the United States is about to seize and take over out of bankruptcy, was about to merge with People Express? People Express was an airline that ceased operation in 1987. So in this clip I'm about to show you, Donald Trump says that Obama, who left office in 2017, blocked a merger between People Express, which went out of business in 1987, and Spirit Airlines in 2024. Okay, here, play this clip right here.
Is the government going to buy a stake in Spirit Airlines?
So Spirit is an airline that's had some trouble. They were going to merge with People Express, or one of them, a number of years ago, and Barack Hussein Obama decided it was a bad idea. How did that work out? It's bad for both of them. That would have been a natural merger. Not United and American, but Spirit and the other.
And so with all of that going on, why don't we listen to what Donald Trump's family members say? Here's what Mary Trump, Donald Trump's niece, just said on a recent podcast. Play this clip.
My grandfather was about Donald's age, maybe a little younger. Maybe my grandfather was in his mid-70s when he started to exhibit signs of dementia, short-term memory loss, impulse control issues, etc. And it then sort of worsened pretty suddenly in his early to mid 80s. This was a man who, at his height, was a very intelligent person. He was very sharp. And suddenly, he often looked as if he weren't oriented to time and space. And it's alarming how often I see my grandfather in Donald these days. He also often doesn't seem to know exactly where he is or why he's there or with whom. And of course, Donald has never had particularly good impulse control, but especially since the beginning of this year, we see that he is almost incapable of reining in his temper or keeping himself from saying what in any instant is exactly the wrong thing for him to say or post on social media. Like, for example, threatening genocide.
Yeah, so that brings me to what the press has been saying. And look, I think it's a good thing when the press fact checks certain things. But here you have a member of the press showing this, it's a video from politics. And what the press is pointing out is this is not a photo and it isn't on the front page of every single newspaper in America because it's not real. The image has been taken from an AI manipulated satirical video made by politics. And do we have the video from politics? First, let me show you the politics video because we all know that it's a satirical video from politics. So first, let me show you the video by politics, where this one goes, no, it's a meme. He fell asleep during a live event. Play this one from politics. Play this clip.
That work continues with other countries. And third, we will continue our work with our partners in Congress to codify the principles that underpin these most favored nation deals so that these savings for American families and this innovation that is unleashed at the same time persists for decades.
All right, now let me show you the real one, okay? Here's Donald. This is real. This is not manipulated. This is not AI. This is really Donald Trump during the press conference. Trump completely passed out, reawakens, then passes out again during the press conference in the Oval Office. Play this clip.
We continue our work on negotiating international trade agreements. 59 days after we stood in this office and President Trump, standing with Albert Bourla from Pfizer, announced the first of the 17 MFN deals, together with our colleagues from the Department of Commerce under Secretary Lutnick's leadership and from the U.S. Trade Representative's office under the leadership of Ambassador Greer, we negotiated a landmark agreement with the government of the United Kingdom in which they agreed to increase significantly the amount that they spend on branded pharmaceuticals for the first time in 26 years. That work continues with other countries. And third, we will continue our work with our partners in Congress to codify the principles that underpin these most favored nation deals so that these savings for American families and this innovation that is unleashed at the same time persists for decades to come.
And I don't know how else you can come to any other conclusion than having the opinion that I have. My opinion is Trump's dementia is out of control. Play this clip.
Boom. Then another one. Boom. And she was ready to go. She walked back to the corner. She said, I've never been hit like that.
And if you think about it too, remember what Donald Trump would say in 2024? You'll never see me sleeping in front of cameras. Well, here's Trump in 2026. Play this clip.
He has one ability I don't have. Yeah. He sleeps. He has an ability to fall asleep while on camera. He can lie down on one of those things, and in minutes, he's stone cold out.
How does he do it?
And he's got cameras because he's the president, so they have cameras on him. Yeah. And then they show him sleeping on the beach. Yeah. You'll never see me sleeping in front of camera.
By the way, it's also a weird thing to say, you'll never see me sleeping in front of cameras. They made up that former President Biden would always fall asleep in front of cameras, which is not actually what happened. And Donald Trump falls asleep all of the time in front of cameras. That's his thing. Passes out, falls asleep, and then he denies it. Then his team goes, oh, that wasn't what he does. He's really awake. He's just resting his eyes and he takes it all in because he's so smart. That's what he does. Let me show you what Dr. John Gardner, clinical psychologist who you've seen before on the MeidasTouch network. Here's what he had to say with the recount. Play this clip.
It's not just that he has cognitive decline. He's a rock rolling downhill. I've said for years, look at Donald Trump today because that's the best Donald Trump you're ever going to see. The nature of his organic cognitive decline, which I believe is probably frontotemporal dementia, is that it never gets better and it never stays the same. It only gets worse. The rate of deterioration begins to accelerate. At this point, the decline is so rapid that he's not the same man he was 4 weeks ago. The frontal lobe is really what distinguishes us from animals. It's the thing that inhibits us from just acting on stray impulses. But the main thing people need to understand, if you think of that frontal lobe as deteriorating, right? And that's the brake, and that's the judgment, right? The two things you would need in a president of the United States who's making decisions about war are judgment and restraint. And those are the two things that he is literally, we're almost down to zero in the tank. These are the patients in the nursing home who they dose with high-dose antipsychotics because they're so violent and out of control. And he's not just a patient in a nursing home. He's got the nuclear codes. You know, the way he's talked about the war in Iran, half the time he's incomprehensible, and half the time he's internally inconsistent. There's no rhyme or reason to it. He's become more erratic. He's become more disinhibited. He is a malignant narcissist on a good day, right? Before he had organic cognitive decline, which means he is fundamentally an evil person. His frontal lobes are deteriorating. He's losing judgment. He's losing what little impulse control he had. He's losing his hold on reality. What malignant narcissists like to do is to feel powerful by destroying and dominating and hurting other people. They're sexual sadists who feel better by causing harm to other people. He can use the U.S. military to blow up whoever he wants, and that gives him gratification. You know, he said to Jonathan Swan that the military is looking forward to its next conquest. You know, this is fun for him, and he's becoming addicted to it in the international military arena, saying, oh, we'll take Cuba next. What people need to understand is this person is insane. The problem is yes, because he's always been a sadist, he's always been a liar, he's always been a mean person, right? He's always tried to make everyone feel bad and make himself feel powerful at their expense, that it seems like it's just more Trump. Well, in a sense it is, because what happens when people get dementia is whatever personality disorder they have becomes 10 times worse. And there's no one to advise him, no one to restrain him, no one to contradict him, and it's going to get worse. This is actually what's really quite so frightening. I see us hurtling towards the apocalypse, and I don't see anything getting in the way. I don't see any friction, even slowing us down.
And that's right. I mean, look at, again, Donald Trump's dementia out of control here. Play this clip.
Will ever make a difference for somebody like Travis. Regeneron is a great example of both the difficulty of the challenge, but also of the potential reward. We spent 25 years and billions of dollars.
Or take a look at what Donald Trump's former Trump White House attorney Ty Cobb had to say. This is Donald Trump's former White House attorney here. Play this clip.
No, I think there's been a significant decline. You know, he's always been driven by narcissism, but I think the dementia and the cognitive decline are, you know, palpable, as do many experts, including many physicians.
Or what about Professor Jeffrey Sachs? Here's what he had to say about Donald Trump's dementia, or his view of Donald Trump's dementia. Play this clip.
Usually we have a political issue. Israel and the United States together have created a disaster in the Middle East. Israel has created a genocide. Israel and the United States together have created this war of whim in Iran that has killed thousands, but has already begun to devastate the entire world. But we also have clearly a clinical condition. We have an individual mental incapacity. The psychiatrists and psychologists that look at this call it the dark triad, meaning that the man is narcissistic, Machiavellian, in other words, completely untrustworthy in every way, and psychopathic, meaning that killing other people does not have any concern for either of these people. So these are both dark triad personalities. Many people are saying, Piers, that Trump is also showing symptoms of frontotemporal dementia as well. In other words, that This personality's always been there, but the loss of impulse control has taken over, perhaps because of dementia added to this. We have a very serious issue. There's never been a president in this incapacity. It's very dangerous, but I just want to emphasize, on top of this is a collapse of our governmental processes. There are no consultations with Congress. Congress, for all intents and purposes, doesn't exist. The National Security Council, for all intents and purposes, does not exist. The intelligence agencies, for all intents and purposes, do not exist. They advised against this. So we have a one-man rule, and the one man happens to be crazy.
And finally, here's what Donald Trump's nephew, Fred Trump III, had to say, similar to what Mary Trump said. Here, play this clip.
I know what I saw in my grandfather. I know what I saw in Donald's older sister, my Aunt Marianne, who in the end, thank you for saying, I am not a doctor. I don't pretend to be. I know the warning signs from both of my grandfathers, what it is. Donald's cousin, John Walters, had dementia. It runs in the family. I'm not happy about it because guess what? I worry about it myself. You know, where's my glasses? Oh, on the top of my head now. I don't know. That may be Halfheimer's, but it runs in the family. He looks older, and I get it. I mean, I'm not saying anybody who is in that office looks different than when they come out. But the things he's spewing and the craziness, and he just can't stick to a message.
There you have it, folks. So just tell me what you think here. I really want to hear from you. I want to hear your opinions as well in the comments. So leave your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear from you. Thanks for watching, everybody. Appreciate you.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.